Awesome. It's great to be here, and let's get started. I will go ahead and share my screen. Let me find the right
Good.
one. And here we go. Can you see, can everyone see me or
Yes.
hear me? Awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll get started. And yeah, it's really good to be back. As you heard, the my lecture today is called How to Make Aging Optional. And my website's just drjosh.com, drjosh.com. I will try to make this interactive, but we'll save longer questions and topics till the very end. So definitely hold on to your questions because I'm sure you will have many. And and you'll learn that eating whole plants is a great start, but there are other things we can do too. So, and this is also a very personal journey. A dozen years ago, before I found the real truth about health, I was 50 pounds overweight. This is me on the left side of the screen. 50 pounds overweight, had high blood pressure, but I was like a Harvard trained physician. Like, why couldn't I figure this out? Why couldn't I fix this? And it was not until I found a more integrative, holistic approach that I came to the solution, which you can see me on the right side after losing the 50 pounds and controlling my blood pressure. So again, this is personal because I've been able to do this for myself, and I want to share this with everyone else. So more about me, 2 degrees from Harvard, a former and current medical director at Hippocrates, 2 degrees in biochemistry. And you heard that I worked at True North, where people would spend lots of money with us, and all we would give them was water. But that's because many of their chronic diseases would go away and they would get younger. My focus is now on longevity and reversing Alzheimer's. And if you stick around a couple of days, you'll hear my lecture on Alzheimer's reversal. And I went to a joint Harvard MIT program. I'm also currently the chief medical officer of Brain Power Clinics and Alzheimer's Treatment Centers of America. And you can find me on social media under Green Brains MD. And I also have a weekly podcast on reversing Alzheimer's. You can find on YouTube or at drjosh.com/podcast. All right. I also start, you've seen many disclaimers, and I apologize for having my own, but basically this is not medical advice. Um, if your own doctor doesn't feel comfortable with these topics, seek out someone like me uh, for help. And I'm not being paid by the big food or big pharma. I do offer an FDA-approved drug for compassionate use to reverse Alzheimer's, and I'll talk about that in a couple of days on my Alzheimer's lecture. Okay, so now that we get started, sorry for boring you there. Queen Elizabeth II died in 2022. What was the cause of her death on her death certificate? And if you could type into the chat here, if any of you know or what you think was the cause of her death listed on her death certificate. Old age. Wow, Rachel got it right. Congratulations. And Crystal did too, and Juliana. Wow. I have a really smart audience here. I don't, I can finish here. No. So what's interesting is that was the case. And let's actually take a look. If we zoom in on the death certificate, it's public record. You can see it was old age. Now, what we've since learned in the last couple years is actually it was bone cancer. But this is the whole point of this lecture, is that if we can turn back aging, then many of the chronic diseases like cancer, you're less likely or you won't get. So again, if we can turn back your biologic clock, we are going to prevent all these other chronic diseases. And I respect that the Queen, like other people, they want their privacy and they don't really want everyone knowing about bone cancer, but let's keep going. So old age, and yeah, that's not a picture of her, but yeah, sometimes we can tell people are old just by looking at their face. Okay, so let's start with the basics here. What in the world is aging? And if you look it up in Wikipedia or in a dictionary, do they still have dictionaries? Anyway, so aging is the progressive physiological changes in an organism that lead to senescence. Great. Don't you love these dictionary definitions? Then what's senescence? A decline of biological functions and of the organism's ability to adapt to metabolic stress. All right. So, and today I'm going to be talking about reversing aging, reversing that process. And this is not new to me. People have been looking for this concept for hundreds of years, specifically the fountain of youth. And Ponce de Leon reportedly found it in St. Augustine, Florida. I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida, but you could go to St. Augustine, Florida today, and yeah, you can find the fountain of youth there. But I'm going to argue that the fountain of youth is not in that location necessarily. It's if you have the right lifestyle, which involves what you're eating and other things too, which we'll get into. Okay, so I also like to start my presentation with a summary in case you get really bored with what I'm talking about or you have to step away. So here it is, the summary, the top 10 ways to make aging optional. Here they are. Number one is eat plants, exercise, avoid processed food, reduce stress, smart supplementation. I'm going to talk about lots of different supplements, but the four I'm going to highlight are NMN, nitric oxide, hinokiol, and pectisol. And it's okay if you haven't heard about any of those. That's why I'm here to cover these issues. The next one is fasting, optimizing sleep, tracking your own health, avoiding hospitals, and finding a sense of community. All right, so what sort of diet should I eat? And I know there are many lectures here on and there are going to be some similarities and differences on what you're hearing through this seminar, through all these lectures. I'm going to share with you my opinion based on my clinical practice for many decades and my 2 degrees in biochemistry and real world experience seeing what works and what doesn't work. All right. So I would argue you should be eating whole foods, plants, vegetables, whole grains. And this is one area where I know there is controversy, but it's obvious which camp I'm in. No added salt, oil, or sugar. We call it SOS-free. And the reason I'm a fan of no added salt, oil, and sugar is that the research studies in humans have shown that when you eat a diet that has added salt, oil, and sugar, it does damage to your blood vessels. And it turns out that your blood vessels are a big determinant of of how you age and your overall health. So, all right. So the next question, and maybe you know, I know in the audience there are definitely some vegans. I know that there's some who are exploring. I personally was exploring um, 10 years ago when I lived in Orlando, and this conference was physically in Orlando, Florida, and I got to go to in person a lot of these lectures. And I was a little bit skeptical, but I'm so glad I came to the real truth about health when it was in person. But anyways, does being vegan increase your life expectancy? And the answer is it does. This is a study of over 73,000 Adventists comparing the death rate, deaths per 1,000 person years of the vegans and the animal eaters. And the vegans had a death rate of 5.4, and the animal eaters had a rate of 6.61. So obviously, 6 is more than 5. So why? The next question may be, why do vegans live longer? And there are many different answers. So here are some of them. Plant eaters have a lower risk of heart disease because a vegan diet is often low in saturated fat and cholesterol, and that can lower the risk of heart disease. Next, Vegans have lower risks of certain types of cancer because a vegan diet is rich in fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. All have been linked to lower risk of certain types of cancer. And in animal products, meat, dairy, cheese, there's zero fiber. Next, lower rates of obesity. Vegans tend to have a lower body mass index compared to the meat eaters, and that's associated with a reduced risk of obesity. And it's really interesting that we now know that being overweight or obese speeds up your aging process because the excess fat, whether it's around your middle or in your bottom or both, the excess fat cells release inflammation, and that inflammation triggers early aging. And some people have called this inflammaging, if that term helps you remember it, but inflammation is not good for turning back your biologic clock. And then next, vegans tend to have better gut health because their diet is higher in fiber, which promotes a healthy microbiome and can reduce inflammation. And then plant eaters have better control of blood sugar and specifically improved insulin sensitivity, which lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes. And then finally, and this is really important, vegans are exposed to lower levels of toxins because the higher up you go in the food chain, there are much higher amounts of toxins. You are what you eat. If you eat from the top of the food chain, if you're eating chicken and beef and dairy and cheese and fish, that's the top of the food chain. Those animals have much higher levels of toxins than if you're eating plants from land or sea. So, and we'll get into toxins. I hope not to put everyone to sleep, but toxins are really important when it comes to aging. All right. So when I use the word toxins, I'm not talking theoretically. I'm talking as with 2 degrees in biochemistry. I'm actually talking about substances. So what are some of the examples of toxins that I'm talking about? Well, let's talk about some. These are not all. Here are some of the toxins in meat, if you choose to eat meat. The first one is heavy metals. Then we have plastics. Many plastics are obesogens, meaning that they lead to obesity. Estrogens, and let me be clear, you often see some meat advertised as hormone free. That's a misnomer. What they're saying is they're not adding extra hormones to the animals before they kill or harvest them. But guess what? A cow, a chicken, a mammal, animals have hormones because life is not compatible not having hormones. So even if you're having hormone free chicken or beef or other animals, there are still estrogens and other hormones there. Next, we have pollutants, man-made pollutants like PCBs and dioxins, pesticides, endotoxins. Endotoxins are interesting. Endotoxins are the cell wall of bacteria. And yeah, we all have some endotoxins that we produce in our own gut. But if you're eating other animals, those animals are not produced sterilely. So if you're eating beef, chicken, fish, you're also eating the endotoxins that are present in that meat. And it turns out that endotoxin is one of the best ways to stimulate your immune system because your immune system recognizes like, hey, this is not us. This is bacterial cell wall. You've got a problem here.